So many things open the door. Let me prepare better. I did the silly thing of not setting up anything properly, so like I gotta find some better images for some of the stuff that I'm gonna be talking about. And I guess like disclaimer, most of this is just gonna be like my recollection, cause like it's been so long since I've read some of these things. I am also reminded about things that I should look into. I need all of this. Oh, the memories. Let me see, what else do I need images for? I'm giving you a yak sesh, sort of. I want to stick to mostly the manga that I read, not really the anime that I've watched before. So, I'm being kind of specific. How big is this image? That's tiny. Well, for some of these, I do need to refresh on the plot. Mainly because I kind of forgot the gist of what some of these were. Okay. Yes, I was right about... I needed to fact check something real quick. And I'm continuing to yap about stuff. Yep. How big is this image? Why are all these images so tiny? Whatever. This is probably the largest, but I can find. Hello and welcome. I will be yapping about some anime and manga I used to read. This is gonna be like a very not well organized yap session about random stuff. Mainly because I don't really prepare things. Let me... You... Oh yeah, here's something. Okay. First thing I want to yap about. Let me just refresh this real quick. Here. Oh, I'm just... Chobits! This is one of the... This was a series that I both read and watched the anime for. And I thought it was cute. If I remember, I think I read the series all the way. Or I watched only the anime's ending. I can't remember which one it was. But I liked the concept for Chobits. The world with sentient computer peoples. It was fascinating. And this was what, from early 2000s or something? You had a bunch of these humanoid computers walking around. They were personal assistants. But Chi was a very special one, if I remember. Something about I don't know. It's been a while since I read it. And since I watched it, but I liked that one. It was cute. There were so many cute character designs too. So that's also one of the inspirations for my work, sort of. But I'm kind of picky with sci-fi themes, so it's weird to kind of call it sci-fi, but it kind of is because it's like robots and advanced technology, and that's kind of sci-fi, but it's like a very interesting story of like humanity. I don't know. I'm probably making it sound deeper than it is. But yeah, that's Chobits. That's all I have to say, because I can't remember most of it. I just know I liked it. I think the anime's ending was pretty cute, from what I remember. There was like, I remember Chi had like a story going on with like where she came from. So that's, yeah, I probably should have prepared this more, because like I don't remember a lot of things. I just know I liked it. Maybe I have more to say about other things, like like these. Just adjust the size of this image. Chibi Vampire. Okay, I remember reading this one. I think I was like in high school. And I found this one pretty funny. Because it's like, she's like from a family of vampires or whatever. But she's like the opposite of what a vampire is. So like instead of drinking blood, she has too much of it. That's basically what I remember the premise of it was. It was just, she has too much blood. Even though she's a vampire, and vampires are supposed to like drink blood and all that. I forgot how she dealt with it other than just nosebleeds, from what I remember. But I thought it was funny. It's a funny like comedy romance thing going on between a vampire and a human, and I like that stuff. I am into that. I never watched the anime version of this one though, but there is one. I never watched it, or at least I never finished it. I also don't think I finished the manga because my local libraries did not have all the volumes, if I remember, so yeah. That's kind of the sad part about some of the stuff that I read back in the day, is that if the libraries that I went to did not have all of the volumes or whatever, whether it was a complete series or an ongoing one, I would never finish it. Sometimes I didn't even know a series finished. But yeah, that's the thing. I just, it's funny. I like funny. I like cute. I like supernatural. The art style is also pretty interesting. I like it. Very, like, this is the kind of the style that I like and grew up on pretty much, that, like, early 2000s kind of look. Not only is it nostalgic, it is my favorite. But I mean, there's other art styles that I like too. Let's see, what else can I yap a little bit about that I probably can sound more confident in because it's been so long? Let me especially something that I didn't really talk too much about yesterday or the day before. Ooh. Again with the supernatural elements, except this time we're going unhinged. I freaking love Hellsing. I love Hellsing. It is unhinged in a way. The premise alone pretty much just, you know, ancient vampire hidden in a secret organization that's bent on, like, hunting down other vampires and stuff like that. It's fun. Also, the main character, Police Girl, is also fun. It's like, oh no, I don't want to die. I've been sent to kill vampires or whatever. I don't want to die. It's like, well, now you're a vampire, and you're under my wing. Let's go! That is a terrible summary of what Hellsing is, but I think it's funny to explain it like that, because it's like, I want you to read it for yourself and see what happens, where it goes. Hellsing Ultimate is the actual anime adaptation of the manga. The original manga and the original version of the anime are not the same. Like, the original anime's production was back, I think, when it was still on running, so, like, the story, it differs from the actual manga. I do remember seeing a video kind of discussing the differences between the two versions of the anime. So, like, the original version of the anime is more taking itself seriously. Hellsing Ultimate is the actual version of the manga. Like, the actual version of the manga does have weird moments of, like, how are you trying to make this funny right now? Which can be, like, jarring if you only ever saw the first version of the anime, which was playing itself very seriously. But, like, Hellsing Ultimate, it's kind of more unhinged. I mean, the main bad guys are, like, reincarnated, like, evil German soldiers or whatever. That are hell-bent on turning the world into, like, zombies or something. Like, the plot goes wild. And Alucard is also a badass. I like him. I like his design. I like him. Ceres Victoria is also a pretty cool character. I like the plot progression there. Where it's like, oh no, I've been turned into a vampire, but I refuse to be a vampire. It's like, yeah, let's see how long he can keep that up. But yeah, those are my random thoughts about Hellsing. I love it. And I do want to get actual volumes of Hellsing. Like, I don't have a lot of manga volumes for a lot of the things that I read. Mainly because I don't want to have to explain why this is in my room. There's already a lot of interesting things in my collection. I don't want to have to explain why this is in there. Yeah. It's like, I would also talk about stuff that I actually do have, but I already talk a lot about Black Butler, so I don't feel the need to talk about it right now. This is a trip down memory lane, okay? I'm talking about, like, my childhood manga stuff here. Speaking of childhood manga, my introduction to magical girls was not Sailor Moon, it was Tokyo Mew Mew. And I read all of these. Except, like, I kind of read them out of order, though. Like, I read all the way up to, like, volume 6. But, like, I couldn't find 5. Honestly, I thought there were 7 volumes of Tokyo Mew Mew. That I could be wrong, though. But I know I read, like, all of Tokyo Mew Mew. I read the volume before the last volume before the last volume. So, like, the second to last volume was the last one that I read. Because, again, my sources were libraries, and if they didn't have it, or if they didn't have it that day, or if I didn't know that it existed, I wouldn't read it. I wouldn't know. So, like, it took me forever to actually, like, realize, oh, I skipped one by accident. Oopsies! But I did read all of the original Tokyo Mew Mew and Tokyo Mew Mew a la mode. I think there was only 2 volumes of that one, and it didn't go anything further beyond. But it's cute. My introduction to magical girls was the was this one, the sci-fi version. Sort of. I say sci-fi version because, like, most magical girls, even if they're dealing with, like, space and aliens and stuff, it's, like, all space magic or whatever. But, like, nah, these girls get their cute animal abilities from science. Just, oops, he's standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now I am part cat. Help. I do remember hearing about the male version of Tokyo Mew Mew. I have not read that yet. I do want to read that just to see what that's about, because I feel like it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of cute. Just gender bend versions of the original story. That should be funny. Yeah, this was my introduction to the magical girl genre. It just brings back so many nice memories. I love it. And it's like, if you haven't read it, definitely do. They do have a reboot anime for Tokyo Mew Mew. And as far as I can tell, it feels like it's closer to the original source material. It just looks more modern style-wise. Because there is a anime version from like the 2000s. I think it was on 4Kids back in the day. I never caught it on 4Kids. I only ever caught like Winx Club and Kirby back in the day. When it came to like Saturday morning cartoons and stuff like that. So I never saw Tokyo Mew Mew, the original English version of it. But it was definitely localized. It was like a 4Kids dub, so like all the characters had different names from the actual manga, which was kind of weird to me because like most of them were already named things like strawberry, mint, pudding. So I'm just like, why are you giving them different names? Their names are already food. Although Ichigo, her name was always Ichigo in the manga and stuff like that. And that's when I learned that meant strawberry. But like all the other characters were a bit more on the nose, except for Sakura. Yeah, her name was also just kept as that, but like, I don't know. But like all of them were like named after foods. I just remember that vividly. But yeah, it was fun. The reboot anime, I don't know if it's still gonna be going on, but it was following the plot pretty fairly close, I will say. From what I remember. I mean, I don't know. It's just my memory. And that's kind of what most of the more modern reboots of older series have kind of been, from what I can tell. It's just following the original manga closer than the original run of the anime. Except for Shaman King, I don't know what they did there. That was just... Why would you spoil that in the beginning? I'm still upset about that. But whatever. Anyways. A different manga to talk about. My childhood. Just the impromptu ramblings of a mad woman. I don't think I talked about this one too much. Let me find a better picture to go with what I'm talking about, because I don't think I have... Because I was talking about this, like, the other day, but not a lot. I mean, I did mention that it is coming back. But I wanna show the original volume first. D and Angel. I'm gonna yap about this for a little bit because I didn't really yap too much about it. I was just talking about like how, oh, I didn't know for the longest time. Oopsies. I didn't know for the longest time it was like on hiatus for like ever. And then it actually ended up finishing fairly recently. And I had no idea for so long. Like I was unaware. Because again, by the time I kind of remembered its existence, I was like, oh, I never finished reading that. I had no idea that it ended so recently. The last time I checked up on it, which was like 2020-ish, I think, because that was also around the time that they said that it was finally finished, I think. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be confusing it with something else. But I'm just like, oh my gosh. I didn't even know it was still going on for that long. I didn't know it had such a long hiatus around the time that I stopped reading. But they are re-releasing it under a different publisher. And, I hope that it's still basically the original Tokyo Pop run, I guess. In terms of, like, you know, the translation. And then, like, they're just doing also the new chapters as well. Because, like, technically a lot of the work has already been done when it comes to translating it. Because, again, it was originally run through Tokyo Pop. It's just that part of the chapters never got released in English properly. But, like, I'm happy that that's continuing. It was fun. I liked it. It's about this character. His name is Daisuke. And he's, like, from a family that's, like, all about, like, phantom thieving or whatnot, because they have, like, this phantom thief named Dark Mousy just kind of, like, hiding in their bloodline. Like, literally, like, he transforms into a completely different person, and that completely different person is the phantom thief Dark Mousy. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, there was more going on to it. I think part of the plot also involves kind of, like, the two main characters kind of learning to deal with each other, learning to live with each other in a sense. As well as, there's these twin girls that they both have, like, crushes on. I forgot their names. I know one of them was named, like, Mai and Riku. Like, they're these two twin girls. One of them was, like, a very cutesy... What was it, Rise? Was it Rise and Riku? Something like that. But, like, there's these twin girls. One of them was a very girly girl, kind of, like, the most popular girl in the class. Everybody likes her. Everybody thinks she's cute. And then the twin was, like, the more tomboy one. That was kind of, like, harder to get along with. And, like, those two both had, like, crushes on the Phantom Thief and Daisuke at some points in the story, and I just remember that was interesting. But yeah, it's a fun read. There's also another Daisuke, sort of. Like, another person who has, like, a different person's identity, kind of, throughout their bloodline. I'm doing terrible jobs kind of summarizing these, but at the same time, it's like, you gotta read it for yourself. You gotta have fun with it, too. I just remember, like, around the time I left off, there was, like, the most chaotic double date going on. Because I think at this point, either one of the twins knew the secret, or both of them did not know it yet, and this was around the time where the secret was going to be, like, revealed. Because I know the anime version of D and Angel is very different from the manga. Again, it was always on, like, apparently it had a history of long hiatuses. So, that's something I didn't really know. And I didn't really notice for the most part, because I feel like the art style changes weren't extremely drastic, but, like, when you look at where it started and, like, the latest art for it, it's like, oh, that's quite the change. Like, skill-wise. Not really design-wise. The characters still look pretty much, like, the same. It's just, like, the styles kind of changed, but, like, oof. I love it. That's about all I can say. I just, like, everybody's, like, there. Why did YouTube not show me this? Oh, hello! I'm rambling. I'm just rambling about manga and anime that I like. I've been rambling about it for over 30 minutes at this point. Bye-bye. You can still hear me ramble if you want. Goodbye. You can look back at my recommendations randomly. Let me see. What else can I ramble on about? I will ramble on for as long as I have to about the random stuff that I used to read. Where's a better image of this other manga? I know what I want to talk about right now. How do I... Well, what image do I put for this one? Because, again, this... I liked... I did not click on anything. Why are you doing this to me? Again, I have a liking for supernatural stuff, you know? The concept... of, like, supernatural. Like, that supernatural and fantasy stuff I gravitate more towards than sci-fi, so... Like, almost everything I've recommended so far would be classified under, like, a fantasy genre. With a few exceptions. Which cover do I use for this? Because I don't know what I can get away with. Actually, which image is not microscopic? This will do. Another random recommendation from me. If you like your romance a little spicy. Supernatural romance. I think I picked an image that's too big. Hold on, give me a second. Yeah, I'll come back. Almost there. There we go. It's almost fitting into frame. Come on. There we go. One of my favorite romance mangas. Supernatural romance between a human girl that all the yokai literally want to consume. And the yokai that's like, no, I'm not gonna eat her, I am going to marry her instead, because that's more powerful than literally eating and killing her and getting all that power for myself. It's it's a fun series for me, honestly. Again, I'm doing terrible jobs at explaining the plot summaries of some of these things because it's more like, you should read it if you think it's interesting for my terrible explanations. Because again, I'm also kind of just going off of what I remember. I just remember he's a Tengu and she is like this girl who all the yokai are seeking because it's like, oh, every like 100-something years there's like a girl born that if a yokai literally kills and eats her, they get all this power. They become like unstoppable or whatever. But if you marry her, your whole clan becomes like prosperous or something. So like almost everybody's out trying to kill her. Except for Kyo over here, who's like, nah, she's mine. We grew up together. This is my childhood friend. You can't have her. Again, I'm doing a terrible job explaining. But that's what this series is kind of like, the premise of it is, and I think it's cute. It's on the spicier side. I think it's a josei manga, so it's not really your typical shoujo manga with like, oh, we finally got to hold hands. It's a little bit spicier than that. But it's a fun read, honestly. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. The lore, the drama of all these like clans or whatnot. Yokai clans kind of like clamoring around for this one person. Yeah. So that's also a recommendation from me, honestly, if you like some spicy romance that isn't too confusing on the brain. Like, it's pretty straightforward. There's not any crazy love triangles going on. It's just these two are the main romantic focus of the entire story. Yeah, there's probably going to be a few other characters that kind of pop up that are like that they want the main female love interest, but they don't really. It's not really like a confusing love triangle thing or anything because it's just focusing on these two. So. And more of like the drama around the other yokai clans. So. The romance element of it is not very confusing or complicated or annoying. Which is something I like when it comes to a romance series. Unlike Vampire Knight, I will continue to clown on that because at a certain point it just got confusing. And I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening anymore. At least this is straightforward. I like my romance manga straightforward when it comes to the main protagonists and their love interests, unless you're very good at focusing the dramatic tension between characters, because like I was talking about D and Angel, like there's these twins involved and they like kind of have crushes on Daisuke and Dark Mausu. But like the relationships between the characters kind of evolves and changes, so it's like not an annoyingly complicated story. Because like Daisuke and the girly twin whose name I think is Rise, yeah, from what I remember. It's like, oh, that's his crush. But then that relationship evolves and it's no longer like crushes anymore. It's like, oh, you don't actually like her, do you? But yeah, that's where I'm like, you can handle like different relationship dynamics in a way where it's like it's not going to be annoying, confusing, full of misunderstandings or whatnot. So yeah, that's also something to consider. I already talked about Wedding Peach yesterday. Excuse me. I should do a different one too, talking about more like anime that I've watched that I would recommend. Because there's some stuff that I never read the manga for. I've only ever got my hands on the anime and vice versa. So like those are like different topics. Let me see. Where's this one? I want to talk about this one. Do I have an image of the first volume of this one or nah? It doesn't really matter. Oh, I can talk about Kami-chan Karen. But that one I need to refresh my memory on that one. That was a cute magical girl series. Random volume cover it is. Oh, that is tiny. I hope it does not blur. Okay, next one. Another manga series that I liked is Nagima. I never could pronounce the magister. Whatever. Negima guy. I like this one because again, it's fun. There's also like so many characters in this one, and I feel like it did do a good job of balancing all these characters and their own kind of little plot development. Their character development moments. Yeah. And I was actually reading this for like the actual plot. I say, but that's not a bad thing. Because again, I feel like all the female characters in the classroom got like interesting story arcs going on. Like the whole premise of Negi is that Negi's like this wizard kid, like this prodigy wizard child, the son of like a legendary mage or whatever. And like as like the final part of his like magical college training arc is to go to Japan and like teach this class of middle school girls. But like they're not normal middle school girls. There's like a lot of crazy ones in there, and it's funny. Because like I remember at least in the earlier chapters, one of the main sort of antagonistic characters was this one vampire chick who was like cursed by his dad. And like she's part of this classroom, and like part of it is like she just wants to kill him so that way she can break the curse on herself because she's been turned into a useless child. There was she also had a robot maid too, so like the cast of characters here was all interesting. There was a ninja, there's an angry otaku cosplayer girl. I liked her. She was my favorite. And I like how she ended up being more of a main character too after like getting her character development. I liked her. She was funny. Cause like while everybody's just going along with all of this, she's like always the one like kind of second guessing like, why are we going along with this? But she's still there anyway. It's like finally I can live my otaku dreams of being a magical girl, but at the same time, why is this happening? What is going on? Also, Negi is cute. I like him. I do remember watching the English, some of the English dub of the anime before, and I did not like Negi's voice. I don't know what was going on. It kind of sounded like the voice actress was like toughing it through a cold or something, trying to voice Negi. It was awkward. Hello! Welcome to my random manga recommendations where I'm just yapping off the top of my head about what I remember about manga that I read in my high school years. And I am on Negima. because it was fun. Also, my favorite character from this series was the wolf boy. Kotaro? Kotaro? I think that's how you say his name. He never showed up in the actual manga. He showed up. No, he should. I mean the anime. He never showed up in the actual anime. He showed up in an OVA of the anime. So he didn't show up in the original anime's run. I feel like this also deserves a reboot anime, but at the same time, it's like they're not gonna touch this with a. I don't want them to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Do not disrespect the anime women's, please. They must show off their prettiness. But most people can't handle that anymore, and that's stupid. But yeah, I'm yapping about things I liked. Things I still like. Things I also want to reread. I want to reread Negama. I actually did read, like, the entire series. There was, like, I want to say around 30-something volumes of it. And I read them all. I didn't read UQ Holder, which is, like, the sequel series. I didn't read that yet. I want to read that one. Because that's, the grown-up version of Negi. Kind of continuing his journey, I think. Or it's like a different universe? I don't know. I just know I haven't read it yet, and I want to. I also want to reread the original Negama. That's also something I want to do. In all of its fan servicey glory. Let's see, maybe there's one more manga to talk about. My vast collection of anime inspiration. Anime inspiration is gonna be a different day. Hold on, let me find a better image of this one. Yes. I hate how every time I search up Kami-chama Karen, it's the meme image that pops up. This poor anime girl. Like, the art style is so cute though, but like, I don't know what happened with the anime. Where is it? Where is a good image? Kami-chama Karen. Kami-chama Karen 2 is the sequel with the kid from the future, but that's not what that's the one I'm gonna talk about because that's the one I read. I didn't read the original run. I read the sequel series. Where the child from the future comes back to try and fix something. I don't know. It's a magical girl series. And I think that one mostly involved time travel. I need a refresher. But it's cute. I like it. It's just that the anime adaptation did my girl dirty. They did everyone dirty. Because I think it was also just because the shift from traditional to digital animation was awkward or something. But yeah, Kami-chama Karen. The sequel series to Kami-chama Karen. Which, I didn't read the original run, I read the sequel. Hello! I'm talking about a magical girl series that I read the sequel series to first before I read the original. The premise is like she's like a magical girl. She turns into like this goddess of like love or something. I think it was like a goddess of love. I don't remember. I just know that the sequel series, there was like she had a child come back from like the future, being like, "Mother, we must fix the future." Like, what? I didn't know I had a child. But that's what I remember from Kami-chama Karen. That's what stood out in my brain the most. But it's cute. I love it. It's just the poor anime adaptation did everybody so dirty. Cause like the art style looks good, but like the jump to digital did not do it justice. And it's just forever known as that meme with the anime girl skull to eye ratio being whack. And it's sad because it's actually really cute. I wanna reread this because I only read the sequel series. I didn't read the first version. I didn't read the original run, sadly. I only had access to the sequel. But it was cute. It's sort of the average magical girl story. She's like a little goddess. Yeah, that's all I have on this one. Because some of the stuff, it's been years since I read it, but at the same time, it's like I love it. It's influenced a lot of my actual art style and the stories that I kind of want to write. It's fun. It's fun yapping about that. It's fun yapping about these things. Because they, like, inspired my actual, like, creativity and stuff like that. So, yeah. That about wraps it up for today. Sadly, that's about all I had planned. I could have made this more professional, but I didn't feel like it. I just think the insane ramblings of somebody yapping is a bit fun. Because it's more about what I remembered and what I liked, and, like, you know, I want to go back and read some of these. It's just that, just kind of looking back on some of this stuff, it's like, yeah, I can see how that influenced how I design characters, or why I like certain characters. As well as why I'm not offended at the sight of anime titty. But yeah, that's about it for this week. Next week, I don't know. I'm like half tempted to try and work in Blender on stream, but I think that'll just make my laptop explode. So I don't want to test that because I'm trying to rework Ortho's model in Blender, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm just gonna completely remodel the hands because they're kind of wonky. They're not very aligned well when I originally modeled them, so it's like, you know what, I gotta remodel them and make them more clean so that way it matches the pre-made rig, so I don't have to do too much finagling with it. So yeah, that's about it for today. I'll see you Tuesday. If anything, I might be able to just show off the 3D model images and just talk about it rather than have my laptop explode trying to run Blender and stream at the same time. I feel like that would just cause it to die. But have a fun rest of your week. Bye. I hope you check out some of my random recommendations. If you want. You're not afraid of the sight of anime titty or panty shots. Because again, you can still tell an intriguing story while having extremely attractive characters. It is possible. You're just weak if you can't handle it. Bye-bye.